Wall Street is feeling the pain tonight from a jolt of uncertainty over U.S. trade talks with China. Talk of new tariffs starting this Friday sent the market into a day-long sell-off. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plunging 473 points to close at 25,965. That's its worst percentage decline since early January. The Nasdaq fell 159 points and the S&P 500 shed 48. The Trump White House today intensified its resistance to investigations by congressional Democrats. Officials ordered former White House counsel Don McGahn to defy a subpoena from the U.S. House Judiciary Committee. It seeks documents related to the Russia investigation. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell joined the president's pushback against Democrats.
They told everyone there'd been a conspiracy between Russia and the Trump campaign. Yet on this central question, the special counsel's finding is clear. Case closed. Case closed. This ought to be good news for everyone.
Democrats say the question of whether the president obstructed justice is anything but closed. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi appeared today at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, and said the president is making the case for impeachment.
Trump is goading us to impeach him. That's what he's doing. Every single day, he's just like taunting, because he knows that it would be very divisive in the country, but he doesn't really care. Just wants to solidify his base.
Pelosi said again that Congress needs to follow the facts before deciding whether to pursue impeachment. Also today, the House Judiciary Committee negotiated with the Justice Department over gaining access to the full Mueller report. Staffers from both sides met in a bid to resolve the dispute. So far, Attorney General William Barr has refused to release the complete unredacted report. The committee is scheduled to vote tomorrow on holding him in contempt of Congress. FBI Director Christopher Wray broke with the Attorney General today, saying he has seen no evidence that the FBI spied on the Trump campaign in 2016. Attorney General Barr asserted last month that the FBI had spied on the campaign, but at a Senate hearing today, Wray distanced himself from that claim.
Well, that's not the term I would use. Look, there are lots of people have different colloquial phrases. I believe that the FBI is engaged in investigative activity, and part of investigative activity includes surveillance activity of different shapes and sizes. And to me, the key question is making sure that it's done by the book, consistent with our lawful authorities.
Attorney General Barr has ordered a review of whether the FBI had a proper basis for its investigation. Wray declined today to discuss that issue, citing the ongoing review. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo made a surprise visit to Iraq today amid new tensions with Iran. He met with Iraqi leaders and said intelligence indicates that Iran might take some action against American forces in the Middle East. The visit came 2 days after news that a U.S. aircraft carrier group is being rushed back to the region. U.S. health officials are voicing new concern about pregnancy-related deaths. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that the risk has risen 50% in the last generation. In all, about 700 women a year die from pregnancy causes, and the victims are 3 times more likely to be Black. The CDC says that more than half of the deaths are preventable. The governor of Georgia today signed a law that bars most abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected. That is roughly 6 weeks into a pregnancy, before a woman may know she's expecting. At the signing, Republican Governor Brian Kemp acknowledged weeks of protests against the law and the likelihood of a legal fight.
I realize that some may challenge it in the court of law, but our job is to do what is right, not what is easy. We are called to be strong and courageous, and we will not back down. We will always continue to fight for life.
Georgia is now the 4th state this year to outlaw abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected. President Trump has pardoned a former Army lieutenant convicted of murdering a prisoner in Iraq. Michael Behenna had served 5 years in a military prison before being paroled in 2014. He admitted stripping, interrogating, and then shooting a suspected al-Qaeda militant. Behenna said that he thought the man was going to try to take his gun. And there will not be a Triple Crown winner in horse racing this year. His handlers say that Kentucky Derby winner Country House has a cough and will not run in the Preakness in 2 weeks. The colt was declared the Derby winner last Saturday after the first-place finisher was disqualified. Still to come on the NewsHour, sitting down with 2020 presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. 2 journalists are released after over 500 days of imprisonment in Myanmar. Hundreds of former federal prosecutors claim President Trump would have been indicted if he were not in office, and much more.